Hello everybody, so Peter here down in the old man shed, and I'm going to see if we can get to terms and get to grips with how you get a motor out of a Bachmann class 66 body and replace it or whatever. It's been a bit of a curse lately, isn't it, between a few of us. We've not had much success, but see what this video, if this works. So this is how to strip down, get to the motor of a class 66 Backmann. Tools, well, I've got a pair of tweezers just so I can manipulate some of the wires around. You need your cross-headed screwdriver. You need 4 pieces of plastic for the acetate, you know, sort of the stuff that it's not as thick as your credit card. This I've actually cut out from packaging that's come, you know, maybe holding the Bachmann figures and things like that. So ordinarily I would cut these and stick the figure to it as a base, but these are my tools to get the body shell off, because the Bachmann 66 is held in place with 4 screws, but it's got clips at underneath the window. Part of the plastic of the window, there's a clip. Believe it or not, there's a clip at the front there, and then there's obviously on the other side there's a clip. So once you've got the 4 screws out, it's not the end of the story. You've got to put plastic, that's what the plastic's for, to get underneath there to try and tease the clip out of its housing there, and then hopefully the body will come off. So let's first things first. So, and I've also got the good old, I think this is the Pico service cradle. So you put that one, you get the screws out, and in this case, guys, one's missing. But right, there's the 4 screw locations is there, there, there and there, and the easiest way to do it is not to try and get in at an angle, because you can see the hole. You go between the wheel and the bogey housing, yeah, because when you do that, you get in and you go straight down into it, and there we are. So I'll undo that one. One of these screws is missing, I know that. Again, between the wheel and the bogey, the chassis, you find the hole. Yeah, there we are, no problems. Not worried about them coming out at the moment. Yeah, I can hear that one clicking, so that's fine. And let's bring it down to that end. Same again, there's the hole. Can you see it? Yeah. But don't go in it from that side. Go, just move the wheels around, and you go straight down onto it. Let's move that one. Yeah, hear it clicking? That means it's released. Same again, between, there's the hole, but between the wheel and the and there we are, that's straight down. Right, that should be the screws undone, so that's done. That process is done. Right, okay, so now the fun part. You've undone the 4 screws. Now we've got to try and get this piece of acetate down in that location. Once I see it coming through the windows, I know I've got the clip. So between the chassis, between the body and the frame, there she goes, there's an opening. I take the plastic down, and I can feel there's a resistance, so I'll try and take it off to the side a little bit. So now I'm at the side. You can see that I'm actually in the window, but I've not released the clip. There, I've released the clip, you see? Because I can move. Yeah, it's going all the way down there. So I've got to do the same on the other side. So I'll get another one. This is why you need 4 pieces. You go between the body and the frame. So I'll do the same again. Take it in, he says. This is the worst bit of the end of the body removal. There we are, we're through. That's that side. So that's in. Turn it round. Well, turn the logo around, sorry. Alright, still in shot. That's good. Same again. Sometimes this goes very easily, sometimes this can be a flipping nightmare. I'll be honest with you. There we are, she's through. That's that one. And the last one, between the body and the frame. This is why it doesn't have to be very thick plastic. It's got to be thick enough that it can move the peg and there we are, it's done it. Yeah, but now it's still held in place by a clip at the front there and a clip at the front there, but hopefully holding the fuel tank, try and tease it, sometimes by squeezing. You can hear it clicking, sometimes that is an indication that she's going to give way. There's no easy answer to this, guys, you just got to keep manipulating it. Hey, there we go, and she's released and all the pieces falling out. There's the clip, you see, so similarly on that side, and there is the tiny little clip on the front of the cab that holds into the front. I'll take the I'll remove the lighting, that makes it easy. You can then, that's it, the body's gone there then. So there's there we are, so there's the little recess there for the front clip to go in, and there's the other two clips there. So, and then the same at the other end, guys. Alright, so apart from the 4 screws that you can see, the 4 screws mounting there and there, these clips hold the body shells on. However, we can do away with that now. Right, okay, I picked up my 4 pieces of acetate because they fell on the floor. When the body suddenly gives way, they always just fall out, and then being clear, they fall onto something rather and you can't find them. So I've gone to the trouble of finding them at the moment. Right, so this is it, guys. This the PCB board. Obviously there would be a processor in place. That's where the speaker would be. Alright, but obviously for this purpose, this is not in use, this motor. So that's nice and clear. So you see where the wiring all is, guys. When you put it all back together, you must make sure that this wiring is away from these screw mounts, because this is where your screws come through for the bodies. And if you've got the wire that's coming over the top of it and you're pushing your way through with a screw, you will end up like that one there. If that's over there and you put the screw through it, you will end up going through the insulation and obviously shortening out the circuit. So you might end up with your lights doing weird and wonderful things. I don't know. I put it in the servicing cradle. Do not remove the bogies. Alright, this is the fantastic thing about this. If anything in its favour, this is the great thing about the 66 chassis. You do not remove the bogies to get to the motor or anything, or to remove the drive shafts, because you're going to be doing all that. Now here, there we are, motor plus, motor minus. Well, guess what, that's where the wires from the motor come through. And as you can see, Bachmann use this system of these black plastic clips that are slotted underneath, so that it allows it to go over the wires but traps the wire on the top to the plate. If you don't like that, you could, there's nothing stopping you from soldering that if you wanted, for a real 100% sure joint, but it works alright. Let's have a look, see. I'm going to take this one off, he says. There we go. And as you can see on the other side, yeah, there's a groove, he says, dropping it. So on this side there's a groove. Let's get it into the camera so you can see it. There we are. Yeah, so that allows the wire to come through, up through the hole that's in the PCB board, and the top bit, being flat, squeezes the wire into place. So keep that for the moment. And there's little bits of wires just showing there, coming through the board. Easiest now, I need to get this PCB board out of the way, and I want to just take it off to the side there. So it's got all this wiring holding it down. So remove this tab. It's only held by 2 little pegs. Yeah, keep it in place. That allows me now to get these wires out of the channel. These are the wires that obviously lead, and even don't think that one goes down to the bogie. Don't need that one, but these ones go down to the lights. This end has been black tacked, but I've got to get it out of the way, so just remove those. Right, so that's done. 2 screws that hold the PCB board to the chassis. Let's take them off. There we are. Sorry, a bit boring. Keep the screw over there. Another one there. Get it into camera. It's very hard, guys, because you're looking at what you're doing, not realising that you may not be in shot with the camera, so I do apologise. if sometimes you do go out of view. It's quite hard. So hopefully it's magnetic, is it? No, it's not. It should have been. So it should have a magnetic screwdriver. Okie dokie. Now, because I've got the wires loose from there, and I've got the wires loose from here, there's enough room without touching those ones. Ta-da! There we are. Look at that in all its glory. So there you are. There's your motor. Now, this is what is the problem. You can see the dreaded suppressors. Because I've taken that clip out, red is the plus, it just pulls out of that hole, and black is the minus. There we are. So that's the two motors. So the plus, the motor is going, this is going all the way down the side of the motor to the underneath brush connector, yeah? Right, to get the motor out, there's two clamps. Let's undo the screws. Hopefully I should be able to just loosen the screws and leave them as they are, and that should allow me to lift the clamp out without taking the screws out. Let's see, that's why I got the tweezers. Let's just see if that's now ready to come out, almost. Maybe a little bit more with that one. Come on. I've not done it enough now. Oh, she's just teasing me. There we are. There we are. So there's the clamp. Clamp that side. You can't go wrong because it's got a shape. Yeah, it's got a little shape around it which fits in the metal recess perfectly around the motor. All right, so you can't put it back the wrong way. Same with this side. Yeah. So don't go all the way with the screws. No need to. Just hopefully that you get it to the stage that you know you've undone it. And just keep undoing it until you know it's definitely loose. Come on. That one, that one. I'm right-handed, so this is fun. This one's probably going to have to be moved all the way, I don't know, because it should come out easier than this. It's just a clamp. All it does is just hold the engine in place over the dreaded rubber grommets, which is what Alan had the problem with, because it's almost like it's there we are. Alright, so that's that and that. So obviously you've got the drive shaft from the bogie going into the end of the weight there, the same at the other end. Don't worry about that, because now we've got the engine is released. We've just got to try and get that up. Now ordinarily the only godsend about these suppressors is that normally you can do that and do that. Alright, so I've done nothing else, guys. So your universal, you know, the drive shafts are in there. Can you see them? There we are, lifted one up. So don't remove the bogies. Well, there's the dreaded 66 motor that's given me and Alan a little bit of trouble lately. So 3 suppressors, and this is three suppressors, and this is what we're asking, guys. Why is the 66 fitted with suppressors? And I know for a fact that my 37 engines don't have suppressors on them. Why are they producing some with suppressors? And this is, if it was on the PCB board, I think you would know about it, you know, because when the 2 wires come up into there, there's no suppressors fitted. You know, I think all this gubbins is to do with the lighting circuitry and things like that. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on that. And this is what gave Alan a load of grief on the motor that he got. These were missing. You see, it's rubber. It's a rubber sleeve on that end, and a rubber sleeve around that end. And the idea of that is that they fit into this metal chassis there and there, and then the clamps clamp it on top and squeeze it down on the rubber, so it's holding the motor, has got a nice cushion. Yeah, it's not going metal to metal, and that's what it do. It can only go in one way. One side's bigger than the other, so that's the way it came out, didn't it? This side, as you can see, that's a lot bigger than that side, and what did it do? It went in upside down like that, didn't it? So that wire was running all the way up there. So there we are. That's how you get the motor out. How do you put the motor back in? So reversed order. I'm not going to get another motor. I haven't got another motor. I'm just showing you how you do this. So get that wire up there. Now this is, hopefully you're going to be able to see whilst I'm on camera. This is where the tweezers come in handy. Before you put the motor all the way in, you've got to pick up one drive shaft and stick it in the end of the motor, obviously. Yeah. Get it all lined up. There's a groove, isn't there? You know, it's got to fit. Right, that drive shaft's in on that side. So we're trying to do it on here and still showing you on camera, but without dropping the motor all the way in. Get these wires out of the way. Why are those? Oh, they're the pickup wires. That's it. Right, so I've got that drive shaft. Bring it up to the aperture. Hopefully it's all lined up, and then he drops it again. Come on, girl. Doing it on camera. That's sod's law, isn't it? It's not gonna. So that drive shaft's still in that side. What you've got to do, you just got to get them to get together. So there's the drive shaft. Oh, I dropped it again. Would do, because I'm trying to do it on camera. But I won't stop the camera. I'll do this live. Oh, maybe the angle's a little bit wrong. Because you've got to allow to bring the drive shaft in because it fits perfectly. I think I'll probably come out the other end now, sod's law. Yes, it has come out, so maybe it might be easier for me to get hold of this one, this end first, and put it in. Get the grooves lined up. Come on. Right, okay, so that's gone in that end. Now, because I'm right-handed, I think it was easier for me to try and do it this side. So hopefully you can still see on camera. Try to get the motor horizontal. Yeah, you've got a little bit of play. You can see how you can move it onto the drive shaft a little bit. So that little bit of movement gives you enough space to bring the drive shaft up from the other side. Like so, he says. Put it in. Like so. Is it in? There we are. Both drive shafts are in, and drop the motor down. Ta-da! There we are. The motor's in place. Spin it. Make sure, yeah, the drive shaft's moving. Yeah, so you've got one drive shaft in that side, one drive shaft in that side. There we are. Now it's just a question. You've got the red wire coming up from underneath, which is your plus. You've got the minus wire on the top, coming from the top. So now you can put back the clamps. Again, it's got a shape. There's a shape you can see on the thing, and that follows nicely the shape that's around the motor. Get my tweezers, and she goes in there. There we are. So she's now squeezing down on the rubber grommet. You know, is it a grommet? What surrounds the bush is that rubber washer, and this is what this is squeezing it down onto in order to hold the motor in place. So just take, you know, the screws are all the way home. So that's what I'm going to do now. That's one in place. Yeah, the motor's, and it, although it's squeezing down, it still allows the motor to spin. This one on this side, again, it's got the shape. You can't go wrong. Yeah. There we are. He does go wrong. Turn it around the right way, Peter. This is, see, warts and alls. I'm not going to do any outtakes because we're all here now, so I know this might be a slightly long video, but you see, it wasn't horrendous. The worst thing was getting the drive shafts in, as you saw. It's not so hard getting the thing out, getting it all lined up. But what you do when you put the motor in, try to keep it parallel. Don't let it drop into the slot. You will have enough room to get the drive shaft in that way, and it will have a little bit of play to allow you to bring the drive shaft in from that side and then put it in, and then you just move it to the sensor and then drop it in squarely. And as you saw it as I've done it. I haven't edited. That is the motor replaced. Now what do you do now? Well, if you want, stick the plus and the minus, stick it up through the little hole there, he says. There we are. Oh, come on. Oh, what's going on here? How many pieces of wire? There's only the one. Quite long. The very tip of it is soldered. There we are. Hopefully just have it down the other side. You can see the shape of the wire where the plastic clip is. There we are. Now it can't go all the way through, otherwise you'll be touching the insulation to the tape. So what you've got to try to do, you've got to have it insulation of the wire on this side, but the wire on the top, so that when you then put the clip on and push the clip on, it's trapped the wire onto these contact points that's there, and underneath, as you can see, that's why it's got the little slots, because it lets the wire come through. Now it's just a question of putting the PCB board back. So there's a little peg that locates it, and then there's 2 screws. So that's that. So let's sort that one out. I'm just trying to find the 2 screws. Yes, I've got one. Yeah, clips, so you know you've got it in its location. That's that one. Yeah, and the other clip, what have I done with it? It's run away from me. Typical. You know when the motor came flying out, or the body come flying out, all springs and everything all flew away from me. I'm dropping everything everywhere. Don't know what I'm dropping. Right, here we are. So last one in there, he says. Get it in. Making a pig's ear out of this. Maybe I'm not sure if I've got a magnetic screwdriver. It would be handy. Sometimes they're a bit more of a nuisance than anything else. And I have tried just sticking a magnet to the side of the screwdriver and see if that holds it on, but it doesn't. Right, so that's that. So that's the PCB board back in place, motor changed, there we are. Now look at that, that's a nightmare, right? To try and put the body on and then put the body screws through that, you're asking for trouble. Well, this is because this is where these white clips come in handy, yeah? So first of all, let's get them all out of the way of that. So we'll have one down there. This is where the old tweezers come in handy again. Be careful with these wires. You shouldn't, as you see, I've not used a soldering iron. Not saying that you won't, and in theory, you shouldn't have to. Right, where's that white clip? So white clip's got 2 pegs. Just make sure that the wires are running in its groove. Come on, like that. Yeah. Press the tab back on. And you've got your white clips. Now that one there is going to be in the way when the body goes back on, so make sure that's out of the way. That's similar with that one. And there we are, that's what it's got to be. These have got to be clear, otherwise you're going to trap the wires. So same down this end. This was the ones that was tacked. Black tacked, yeah, just a bit of black tack, squeeze it down. Again, see, got to move that. Make sure that they're clear. That's it, people. Body's ready to go back on. I mean, obviously you would have your, you know, your chip. If you had a chip, and your speaker can go there with a bit of black tack or blue tack holding it in place. I'm not going to do that. So it can come out of there because I want the body down on the thing. That's the way it comes off. Exhaust end is the driver. So plug the cab lights back in place for the cab lights and the overhead lamp light, the headlight. The one in that right end. Body back on. Down. Look at the cab end. Make sure that when you squeeze it, it goes down flat. Squeeze it, goes down flat. I'm going to leave it there because that's the body back on all done and dusted. It's just a question of putting the screws back, the 4 screws that if you had them. There we are, people. That's how you change, or that's how you remove the motor and possibly change a motor in the 66. It's straightforward. Didn't have to take the bogies off with all the problems that you end up with the wire breaking down from the pickups and things like that, because and that's what I do on the Class 37. Once I've got to the stage of the bogie, releasing the bogie from the body, and it's releasing the bogie from the body and it's hanging down from its wires, that's when I unsolder the pickup wires and remove the bogie completely, because believe me, it's just going to get damaged if you leave it like that and you're trying to work and try and get the motor out, because on this one the motor is held in with those clamps. On a Class 37, which is the other loco I know about, the 37, the motor is held in a plastic cradle which clips each end and holds the motor, which is why it's got no rubber around it. Now Alan's motor the other day, when I saw it and I thought, well, that's not going to go in a 66, so I can't, I won't gospelly, Alan, I won't actually say that was a Class 37 motor, because now we know they use the same motor in the 66 and the 37. They probably do the same in the Class 70 and well, whatever of the big locos that Bachmann got. See, I've only got 37s, Class 70 and the 66. I've not had the Class 70 apart, thankfully, touch wood, but who knows if the suppressors, if they come with suppressors, if they're fitted on the side like what you got. And I suppose, Alan, I'll say, give them their due, they probably thought you wanted a motor. They might have had a loco in for return for some reason or other. Maybe the lights weren't working. It could have been there was nothing wrong with the motor, so they strip the things down for parts until someone says they need a motor, and they think, well, that motor's come out of there and it didn't come back for the motor, so we can send him that one. That's the only reason I can think that he got a second-hand looking motor. But one I got back didn't work, and I never sent it back and said, oh, chest it. It definitely had come out from a, it wasn't fitted as new, it came out from an engine. But what is it, Alan? It's about 22 quid, isn't it, they're charging for these motors, and then postage. So to find that they've just taken one off the workbench, yeah. Hey ho. Okay, everybody. I know another long video, but hopefully we finally got the end there. Maybe Alan, you won't have to do the tutorial now. Hopefully it comes up on this and we get away with it. All right. Okay, everybody. All the very, very, very best, and see you soon. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye bye.